going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Koop'd podcast. The podcast that you know what? I was thinking of a transition for this all day. Wants to date Flavor Flav in like 2005? I think I'll go with that. Yeah, let's go with that for the time being. As always, folks, my name is Koopa, and each week I sit down with one of my friends, and we talk about all the things fun in pop culture and in between. And this week, folks, I want to do something a little bit different. You know, we've been doing a lot of current stuff, been talking a lot about, you know, news and current pop culture events and yada, yada, yada. This week, I felt like eating some junk food. I felt like getting weird. And I was approached with a great idea from one of my friends. So before we get into today's topic material, please join me in welcoming one of my friends, as all, most of my guests are. Friend of Super Smash Bros. Community, please welcome my good friend, Shannon. Shannon, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so excited to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing great. So just to kind of rip the Band-Aid off, we're going to be talking about, taking a deep dive, taking you guys into a case study of the genre of of the dating show, reality TV show genre. This is a great idea. I think you were the one that said. I think we mutually came to the conclusion that we both enjoy this type of stuff. I'm trying to remember how it happened. Let alone, I can't remember what happened an hour ago. Let alone like a few weeks ago.
And I mean, I will talk about this stuff. Gosh, most kids my age, I don't even remember cartoons that were on when I was 10, 11, because I was watching VH1 reality dating shows, and they were great.
Oh yeah. Because so you and I, again, just for preference, we're both frequent of the Super Smash Brothers community. You know, we both frequent a lot of the same airwaves, and naturally, as ones do, you tend to gravitate towards people of that like the same stuff. And I gotta say, I don't know how I became kind of dove feet first back into this genre of television, because I think it's something about the pandemic and the last year where I've just really wanted to watch hot people fall in love with other dumb hot people. I don't know. Go ahead.
That's kind of the magic of it, right? Because it's everybody on these shows, they're hot, they're dumb, and a lot of them just want screen time, and they will do just about anything. And it was really such a special time in television, right? Because it was the mid 2000s, and there weren't very many rules like we see today. Mm-hmm. You could really get on that show and say or do whatever you wanted. And that was the beautiful mess of it.
Yeah, it really is. And so, we're going to be taking you guys on a retrospective deep dive of the romance reality TV show genre, like we mentioned. And I think one of the reasons why this came so readily back on my radar is because, like I said, I wanted to watch some bad dating shows while I was in quarantine, because we're both from the same age bracket. So we grew up on shows like I Love New York, Flavor of Love, these awful VH1 reality shows that we probably shouldn't have been watching.
No, probably not.
Yeah, and then we have since become more cultured and grown to things such as Love Island and Too Hot to Handle. And I feel like this genre of television is kind of back now. It definitely went away for a while. Obviously, dating shows have always been sort of a thing with The Bachelor being on 3 times a week, and weird weird spin-off shows like Beauty and the Geek, and there's always just weird variation of one of these shows popping up every now and then. But yeah, listen, I think another thing is because I've been using Paramount Plus a lot as a streaming service, and Paramount Plus has access to the whole Viacom library. Mm-hmm. Viacom has access to things like Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, and more importantly, VH1 and MTV. So I've been watching a lot of shows like Parental Control, Next. I've been watching a lot of, those older shows. And again, VH1. So, Flavor of Love is there. I believe I Love New York is there. Mm-hmm. And it's in some sort of its entirety. And I went on a binge and watched The Hills again. Don't ever want to do that again. Yeah, that was a show.
My reality TV show binge over quarantine, actually, not dating show, was The Jersey Shore.
Oh, that's a great choice.
I don't know what possessed me, but I said, I think I'm going to sit down and watch The Jersey Shore. Wow.
Yeah.
Season 1 Jersey Shore is a gem. Because it nobody knew how successful it was going to be. So I feel like they all just went crazy with it, right? Like they were
Yeah.
like, fuck it, we get to be on TV. We're in our, early 20s. Who doesn't want to be on TV? And they just took that. And I mean, it's still on the air. It's still popular. I mean, it's quite a testament. It came back after so long of being off the air. And I feel like that was kind of really the spark of this sudden surge of like, oh, reality TV is popular again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that just reminded me of a funny tweet from Max Ketchum tweeted this earlier in the week, but he was like, when you tell people you're from New Jersey, you either have to explain you're from the Sopranos part of New Jersey or the Jersey Shore part of New Jersey. And I just like never related to something so hard in my entire life.
Well, see, from Pennsylvania, we get how close are you to where the office was set? It's like, I'm about an hour, and they usually get it. Like,
yeah, right. That is so funny. Like, I imagine. I wonder if people that live in Indiana like get people to ask them how far they are from Pawnee. Like, it's like, oh well. Funny thing about that, it's a TV show. It's not real. But
right? Exactly.
we are here to talk about things that are very real, which is celebrities falling in love with normal people. And I think I'll start by asking you this question because it's always again fun to ask people like how they kind of stumble across these shows. And you mentioned, just like I did, that you were probably like way too young to be watching these shows as I was. So what's your history with a lot of these like older, classic, like, celebrity X of love shows from, those early 2000s?
So my very first earliest memories, I distinctly remember this. I had this little iPod Nano, and VH1, I can't remember what it was called. They used to do this like 5-clip. It wasn't a podcast because it had little clips from the shows, but I remember as early as like, The Surreal Life was on there a little bit. I Love New York, obviously, Flavor of Love. And so I remember I would literally listen to these clip shows because we were allowed to have our iPods for art class. So there I was in 5th, 6th grade in art class listening to trashy reality TV show clips. Because that's what I cared about. Like, I didn't want to watch whatever was popular, whatever the other kids were watching or into. I was just so into VH1. I think it was called like Celeb Reality.
Yeah. Yeah, that brings me back.
Like, and I just used to watch. I don't even know who these people were. And they would just talk about the reality shows. And I was like, I think I could get into this. So I think it was about Flavor of Love 2, which came out in 2006. So I was 10. That's the first one I remember watching in its entirety.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great story. And again, like, I feel like a lot of kids around this era, like, around that time of like, when you're around like 11, 12 years old, like, you're starting to get into those weird years of your life. And, like, I definitely found myself watching, stumbling across those shows that I probably shouldn't have been watching. I think I remember this is around the time of my life where I was like staying up past my bedtime to watch Adult Swim. Yeah. And then subsequently getting busted by my parents for staying up too late. So, it definitely.
I used to. I was definitely a very, I always had a computer, right? Because my dad built them. So I was just one of those kids blessed to always have a computer. So I was big on the internet. You remember like Gaia Online?
Oh God, my skin just crawled.
Right. I was like, I didn't want MySpace. I was like, HTML coding my Gaia profile. Like, and so there were a bunch of forums on there. And yes, I was a role play kid also. But there was just like a bunch of like, talk about this TV show, talk about that. So forums really were big for me. And then, I'm not going to lie, I was a weird kid. Like, I remember I'd message my friend, like, we should do like a role play that's like the plot is based on a VH1 reality show. And they were like, they were normal. So they were like, no, like, that's weird. But I remember specifically, I'll talk about Daisy of Love because I think that was the one that just really stuck with me. So for those who don't know, Daisy De La Hoya was on season 2 of Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, where she came in second and she was devastated. And so, of course, they always say the famous line, so VH1 decided to help me out and give me my own show.
It's so true.
And so I remember relating to that so hard because all of her, people that were on that show were like, oh, these rocker bad boys. And I was in 8th grade. And for some reason, I was like, that's my future. That's what my future husband's going to be. And this was also around the time I started to go to like local music shows. So I was really living that fantasy that would be my life one day. And it just for a long time in high school, I was like, I need to dress like that, look like this is what I want to be. And then I look back and I was like, I watch it now. I just rewatched Daisy of Love and I was like, oh gosh, I wanted to be like that. Oh gosh, like looking back. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, it was
Honestly, I listen. I respect it. It's one of those things where you have to kind of have to take like a hard look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yeah, I did this once, and it's
Mhm.
fine. And listen, I'm with you. I definitely feel like I definitely watched these shows for the wrong reasons because
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know what it was for something about because I remember I would watch bits and pieces of I Love New York and primarily Flavor of Love was the one that I think I started with, and I remember I started watching the shows because I watched a lot of Entertainment for some reason, like
Mhm.
as a preteen. So I watched a lot of The Soup with Joel McHale. And shows like these were always splattered across The Soup because, again, The Soup was a conglomerate of, funny clips and things that happened throughout, reality television of that week or whatever. And I remember that's where I saw like the pumpkin fight for the first time,
Mhm. No,
like in
you
real
said The
life.
Soup, and that brought back so many memories.
Yeah. It's like I'm completely flabbergasted by just by how much of that show influenced me watching all these other shows. And I don't know what it was like. I think I watched like a few episodes of Rock with Love, Rock with Love with Bret Michaels. I remember vividly like one of these I don't know how it happened. There was like another VH1 reality show. I think it was called I Love Money, which
Oh
was like
yeah.
it was a spin-off of like all the people that were on these like, you know, blank of love shows, and they were competing for money on a reality show. And I think one of the contestants on that show was on Rock of Love and then subsequently became a porn star. And I think 14-year-old
Sounds,
me was
yeah.
like, yeah, it
Yeah.
tracks.
Right.
I think 14-year-old me was very intrigued by the notion of that. So, as you know, why I watched a lot of these shows, and there's just so many to dive into. But I think my personal favorite was I Love New York. I have so many. I don't know why my parents let me watch this show. It got so weird. I watched a man put a foot in his mouth. Like it was
I just
truly an
remember
incredible time.
12 years old, 13, 12, however old I was when Rock of Love came out. I vividly remember Heather running to Lacey's parents and saying, I saw you suck Brett's dick last night. And her parents are just standing there like appalled. I was like, and there I am at 12, like, huh, wow, that's crazy.
Interesting.
Right.
Like,
I can't believe she would do that. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I truly don't understand it. Like my mom would, get mad at me for watching Family Guy. Like she'd get mad at me for watching Futurama. Granted, looking back at it now, I don't blame her. At least for Family Guy, Futurama's great. But
yeah.
I don't know what it was. Like for some reason, I don't think she thought these shows were like that bad for like an 11, 12-year-old boy to watch. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. Because I went back and watching a couple of episodes of these shows, and number one, Tiffany Pollard is still very prevalent in. She was just in the news for something recently, I think. If I'm remembering that correctly,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
have to look.
she I mean, I know she's definitely done, I think it was Celebrity Big Brother she did.
Yes, that's something that I noticed she did.
She's done a couple recent projects. I know I was telling you, Chance from her show, got his own show on VH1 just recently has had a new show. I think it was last year on Zeus Network. Zeus Network is kind of trying to revive that genre. And I remember she made an appearance and I was like, I can't believe they still talk from a VH1 reality show like 10 years ago.
That is so funny. So kind of looking through Tiffany Pollard's Wikipedia page. According to what I'm seeing here, so she was a guest judge on a season on RuPaul's Drag Race. I actually do
Yep.
remember that because I think I might have watched that season recently. She was on the 11th season of Celebrity X on the Beach, which is, again, another one of those shows that kind of reignited recently. And I watched like a few episodes of it, and it's so stupid and it's so dumb. And these people are so hot and so stupid.
I think as
and
I
just
check
absolutely love it.
here, okay, no, I'm looking up the wrong person. We need the reality star with that name. One of the guys who got pretty famous off The Bachelor, his name is Chad Johnson. I believe he was on a show with her. Let me see what one it was. Yep, I think it was X on the Beach. Was that season 2 she was on?
Yes, I think she was on
Yep.
like the UK version of the show.
Yeah,
but
because I remember I saw a clip of them together actually, and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And also doesn't that name sounds familiar? Doesn't he also do porn now?
Yes, he also now does porn.
I feel like the pipeline from.
Well, so,
I mean, is anyone surprised? Let's be real here.
So and granted, I'll give it up. Very good looking man. Let's give credit where credit is due. He's on
hunky.
JoJo's season. I believe it was JoJo's season of The Bachelor. He was kind of that first taste and tease into people being casted as villains again. I think they definitely, I don't know if he was cast as a villain. They definitely portrayed him as a villain heavily on the show. And so, like, you know, the other guys would be like, this is a meathead. And it would cut to a shot of him, like, just eating lunch meat. Like,
God, that's so relatable.
Right. And so, you know, they put him on, like, Bachelor in Paradise. I think he was asked to leave. And, you know, now he's kind of, you know, been on, you know, as we said, X on the Beach. I think he was also on Celebrity Big Brother. So definitely we're seeing for sure now, Tiffany Pollard for sure set the standard for reality stars branching out of their kind of niche of reality TV. Because I feel like Tiffany specifically has been in a lot.
Yeah, just kind of looking through what she's done. I think she was, you know, was on, I think it was like Tony Braxton's reality show at some point. You know, there's a lot of crossover between these people, and yeah, and she definitely made her money's worth. There was another, again, you mentioned Chance had a spin-off show of his own. I think there was another. I think it was a dude that put like her foot in his mouth. Had a spin-off show.
Yes, Frank. It was Frank the Entertainer in a basement affair.
Oh,
and that was his. And so the premise of that show, I love that one actually, because this concept is hysterical. I don't think it was his real house, right? But the whole thing was when he was on I Love New York, he lived in his parents' basement. And sure, I understand, could be a deal breaker for some people. But then they said, what if we gave you a dating show and gave you this, you know, because normally, right, on these VH1 shows, they get these huge, lavish like mansions. They put him in a little house in the suburbs where his suite was in the basement, and then the girls slept in bunk beds in what were supposed to be like the childhood bedrooms, and his parents were in the house. And it was like living with someone's parents for a whole show. That was fantastic because the whole concept is just like a little it's just enough uncomfortable.
Yeah, I vividly remember this show like just kind of existing in my plane, and again, I was just like so taken back by the fact that like I don't know, like a few things from these shows live rent free in my mind. Like,
oh yeah,
obviously the pumpkin fight, iconic, like one of the most like you know memorable reality TV shows, you know TV show spats of all time. And again, Pumpkin, the pipeline seems to be working because I think she was also on like a Playboy dating show at some point too. If I'm recalling this correctly, this pipeline is riddled with some rough stuff. But
well, Tiffany, when she was on Flavor of Love, had so many of those iconic moments. Like both of her eliminations were iconic. Specifically the one where she's like, I don't give a fuck. Do I look like I give a fuck? Because I don't. And then she's in the limo crying. That is my favorite reality TV show clip that often circulates on Twitter because it will never not be so relatable yet so funny to me.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely great. And that's again, that's sort of the appeal of these shows that you kind of lost, you know, as you moved into like the mid 2000s and stuff. But MTV always delivered on like that on the junk, you know, and VH1. So obviously, you know, the drama the fighting, the the just nostalgia-ness of some of these breakdowns that people are experiencing, dating celebrities that are like 30, 20 years older than them.
Right.
It was great. And then you also get things like, again, I watch a lot of Next when I was growing up. The OG speed dating, TV show. I think, God, I remember I went back and like watched like I watched a few of these whenever I'm like doing like busy work in the background. I think there was like an episode of Next where like a girl like pees her pants on the date or something like
Oh
that.
my
I think I
gosh.
remember. Yeah, I don't know if I'm like Mandela affecting that and just like making that up, but something tells me that might be like accurate. So like, did you like, what's your experience with like those like like MTV shows, like shows like Parental Control and Next and
So I kind of
stuff
feel
like
like there's like the age-old argument like Pokemon or Digimon, and I feel like to me growing up it was VH1 or MTV. I was definitely no, don't get me wrong, I dabbled in the MTV. I remember what was it like Room Raiders, I think.
Yeah.
That one to me, I was like, some of that stuff has to be planted. Like there is no way that this is this person's room because I just could never imagine. And then it was the one, oh my gosh, where the parents chose the date. Was that
Yeah,
Parental Control?
that's Parental Control. That show is fake as all hell, but I can't get enough of it. It is so fucking funny. There's a I don't know if you've used Pluto TV before, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're not familiar with what Pluto TV is, it's essentially just like a free to stream app on your smart TV or your phone, where you get like 1,000 channels of just like very catered content. So there's channels dedicated to anime, there's channels dedicated to that just play like seasons of Survivor and The Amazing Race and Big Brother on loop like all day and for long stretches of time. And I remember we were just kind of checking out that app, and there was a whole channel dedicated to Parental Control.
Oh,
So me and my
gosh.
friends just watched like 7 episodes of Parental Control in one sitting. I felt exhausted. I felt like I just like ran a marathon while also smoking a pack of cigarettes. But it's so bad. It's so staged. Like it's just like the infighting is absolutely just stupid between these people. Where like they're making these corny jokes and like pretending to be mad at their like their child's partner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all staged. It's all so fake, but I just couldn't stop watching. It's like a car accident, Shannon.
So I used to watch one that I was into. I think it was like Wife Swap. Oh my gosh. I, as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, should not have been so invested in Wife Swap, but I always found that fascinating because then I would think, I said, what if someone came in and replaced my mom for the week? What would
my
I
gosh.
do? And I got to thinking, I'm like, what would my mom do to this other? Because my mom, God love her, she's very quirky. She's got her quirks. And I remember that one, and then another one was oh gosh, they're so okay. So the other thing about this early reality TV, it was actually very oversaturated.
Yeah, it's kind of strange when you think about it.
Like there was a lot of these little like one-off shows that had no business being a show. Like who thought of that concept? Like what one was like Super Nanny, and it's like, come on, you tell me you can't like sit your kid down and have a conversation with them. Like, why does Super Nanny need to be a show?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's seen that like one famous episode of Wife Swap where the woman gets swapped with like a Christian mom switches places with a hippie mom for like a week, and a woman has like an epic meltdown. If you haven't seen this before,
go watch it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
She's not a Christian.
Oh, that was
lives rent free. Yeah, so good.
I think too, a lot of like what helped this era of reality TV, YouTube was actually reliable.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's really funny with a lot of these like reality shows, like they've really found like second home and life on YouTube. Like I just found out recently because, I'm a frequenter of like a lot of reality TV show podcasts. So like, I keep very up to date with my trashy television. And there's there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to showing full episodes of like Hell's Kitchen, like uncensored. So you can hear Gordon Ramsay call someone a fucking donkey, without the censor, and
right.
It's hilarious, and like it's one of those things where it's just like YouTube has definitely given like a lot of shows like this second life because people are kind enough to torrent them for the internet,
Right.
I guess.
Put them out to the world, because people, honestly, I would say if you have not seen Rock of Love, Flavor of Love, just watch an episode. Like, please. You will be
for sure.
astounded at the things that were said and the things that happen and the little fights that they get into. I was just thinking, probably my gateway into this kind of special genre. My dad growing up, and he would let me watch, and hold judgment, he would let me watch Jackass with him.
Yes.
And so I was just like, that, like, the reality dating shows were tame compared to what Jackass was. And then I started watching Viva La Bam and things like that.
Man.
And Bam's Unholy Union. He had a whole show about getting married.
You're preaching to the choir. I'm suddenly transported back to like 2007.
And I remember,
spoiler alert, Bam and Missy did not make it.
Right, yeah, spoiler alert. And that's kind of a common trend with these early VH1 shows, or early, just, I guess, reality TV dating. They usually didn't last long. I remember there was only like 6 months between the premiere of Flavor of Love 1 and 2.
Yeah, and these shows only usually went on for like a couple seasons. Like, I think there was like 3 seasons of Rock of Love, which is, again, not surprising. There's 2 seasons of I Love New York. There's 2 seasons of Flavor of Love, like you said. So these shows definitely went on.
Oh no, Flavor of Love had 3.
Oh, did it have 3? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no, it somehow had 3. I remember being disappointed because and one of the best part of these shows is the reunion shows.
Oh yeah. It's so good. There's always so much beef, and I think the reunion show is definitely something that has like continued to like stick and like be fantastic to watch, like, across reality shows. Like, I watch a lot of we both have found solace and we watch a lot of Survivor. Survivor is like it's so vanilla and like white bread in regards to, like, the drama that happens, but like every now and then you'll that's why I watch shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, or I watch shows like Flavor of Love and such, because I know there's at least going to be one fight between people, and it's going to make me like, it's just going to give me so much serotonin to get me through the week. Like, it's so good.
One I'm super into, and I think because their reality or their reunions are always spicy. I don't know if you've ever seen Married at First Sight.
Oh, I've seen a show. I've seen a variant of this show. There's a show that was on Netflix last year called Love Is Blind. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same concept. People meeting a person on the internet for the first time and then marrying them, like, or at least the plan is to marry them. So is that like kind of like the same concept, kind of, sort of?
Married at First Sight is actually very literal. You have to take these like so many page long assessments, right? It's like a personality assessment, like a psychoanalysis. These matchmaking professionals will give you what is supposed to be, quote unquote, your perfect match. And then you meet at the first time at the altar and you get married.
Gosh. Wow. That's insane.
And then you have, they call it like the decision period. You have so many weeks or whatever to decide, yes, we want to stay married, or no, we don't. It's even, I would say. There are the few rare couples that have actually stayed together from this process.
Wow.
And then, you get ones that clearly never should have been together at all.
Right. I mean, you see that all the time in these shows like that. You'll see, because I'll use Love Is Blind as an example. Like, it's essentially the same concept. These people are they're essentially like locked in these like pods for like a couple of days, and they have like 14 days to get married to their partners or whatever, and it's just like, it makes zero like fucking sense. And again, there's always the drama of like, will they, won't they? Right. And most of the time they didn't.
No.
And it's much to nobody's surprise, but again, you keep watching because you're somebody had like a blow up where it's like, oh my god, like, get that motherfucking camera out of my face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, I live for that. I live for the camera crew breaking the fourth wall, following somebody out of the venue, like watching somebody just like try to mask their tears as
I'm done being filmed. I'm not being filmed, and they're like ripping their mic pack off, like, I'm done. Like,
It is so good. Like it just never gets old to me. Like it's like it both triggers my anxiety, but it's also like I can't stop watching.
Right, it's
Like
like you're like rubbing your hands together, like, ooh, like what's he gonna
yeah.
do? Like,
But again, like these sort of shows kind of like fell off after like, the mid to late 2000s. And granted there's always trash reality television to watch, like we were talking about, the Jersey Shore, before, even though at the Jersey Shore, national treasure, love that show.
yes,
It
we'll
is
go
by
down in history.
yeah, it's iconic, and it still continues to be relevant today, as we were mentioning earlier. And I think something that really, I don't know when the dating genre really like sparked back up again, because there was always those like weird like one-off shows, like we mentioned how The Bachelor is still always very
Hmm.
popular, and very topical because Jeopardy host Mike Richards, former Jeopardy host, hosted a show called Beauty and the Geek,
Yes.
in the early 2000s, which again was absolutely hysterical. So there's always those like weird like one-off shows, like this. And but I think it was with Love Island like kind of blowing up in popularity to where this genre sort of started like coming back into the
Hmm.
zeitgeist. So yeah, I think that's why it's interesting to talk about. Like, do you think that with shows like, again, like we mentioned, Love Is Blind, we just mentioned Love Island, and Too Hot to Handle is another one we mentioned at the top. Like, do you think that this genre of television is like back? Also, F Boy Island on HBO Max. Watch it; it's great.
um, I do, because I think over quarantine, I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, just fell into reality TV as a whole. We all just wanted to feel drama and feel something.
Oh
And
yeah.
now that that's kind of happened, I mean, I watched one of a good podcast about this is actually it's Talk of Love, hosted by Lacey from Rock of Love on YouTube. And
That's
she goes
awesome.
and she interviews all of the, old VH1 reality TV contestants, and that blew up over quarantine. Like they were like, "Oh, get London from Daisy of Love, get the Blanchard from, Rock of Love bus, get this person, get that person." And I think honestly, like, it is so surprising to see, because I always thought I was almost in, a smaller group that enjoyed this show. So many people loved these shows and still care about them and want to know, like, huh, I wonder where such and such is after 10 years.
Yeah.
What are they doing with their life? Um,
Yeah. Right.
and so I definitely think there's been a renewed interest. I think Love Island, huge to do with that. People
Yeah.
love, specifically for some reason, the British version of that show. People eat that up.
Yeah, I haven't watched the British version yet. I've heard
Oh, it's
it's,
good.
I've heard it's the superior version of the show, even though the American version is pretty dank. Like that show is pretty ridiculous.
It's all right, but
But
just something about, I don't know. It's just I don't know if it's the culture, because I've never been to, Britain or anything, but it's just something about the way they say things, even like they are not afraid to cut loose. And I've noticed this a little bit with Celebrity Big Brother as well. Or Big Brother UK. There's a couple of them over there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
like they are just not afraid to say whatever, do whatever, get into fights. I don't know. It's just like it just, and I think I talked about this, like we don't really see that as much lately on American reality TV. I would say usually people are pretty tame. um I would
Yeah, I would
say
agree with that.
like it's not what it used to be, because I mean, oh my gosh, on these VH1 shows, like people were fighting all the time.
Yeah,
They
no,
were
it was crazy.
they
I
were
think so.
not scared.
I think I don't know what it is. I think it's just like because I noticed it with shows like Survivor, where like they don't really cast like villains for these shows
Right.
anymore. They just kind of cast like heroes and like lesser heroes, if that
Right.
like makes like any semblance of sense. But like I guess it's kind of the same for these other shows too. If there, again, if there's ever a show that really like recently that I just watched that definitely had these defined villain roles, was Too Hot to Handle, which I think is
Mhm.
like quickly shooting up the ranks of as like one of my favorite shows of this genre. Like uh I just I the second season just came out a few weeks ago. I watched it. I'm obsessed with it. And if you haven't seen the show before, I talked about it on a couple of podcasts ago, but I would the concept of Too Hot to Handle is that you take these people who are serial daters, I guess is the best way to put it.
Hot and
Um,
dumb.
Yeah, hot and
Hot
dumb.
and dumb.
That is the archetype of shows like this that you must pay close attention to. But they take these hot and stupid people from all around the planet and they put them on an island somewhere tropical, and they they can't have sex or do anything sexual in nature for like 30 days or something like that because they're trying to form true genuine connection with the biggest air quotes of all time.
Right.
And there's a joint prize pool of like $100,000 for both seasons, and every time you do something that breaks the rules, because you're being watched by essentially this like, I don't know, air purifier for the entirety of the show. So every
So
time someone like breaks the rules, you like lose money, and it's absolutely hilarious.
I want to get back to that, but I just want to touch on, I'm thinking about Love Island UK more. I think what it is like American reality TV. I feel like even the people that go on those shows, they have this persona in their head of this is how I should be. And I think when I think of Love Island UK, like they're just honest.
Yeah.
If they just want to hook up, they just say like, yeah, I'm just here to snog. I want to snog this person. Like they're just very honest. Whereas I found with like watching this Love Island, this season, they really try. They really lay it on thick. They're like, I just want to find my perfect person. I just want to find my match. And then they're going off and they're like kissing 5 different people. It's like, come on, just be honest. Own it.
Yeah, exactly. Like everybody knows what's gonna go down here, and I think that's why I think I like watching Love Island like more than I like watching these other shows, is because they don't try to sugarcoat the fact it's like, yeah, like these guys are gonna like make out with strangers. I think in the first season, because I haven't seen the most recent season, and I don't count the pandemic season from last summer because they were literally on like a rooftop in Las Vegas and they called it an island. Interesting.
Yeah.
But like I remember in the first season, like one of the contestants was like, yeah, like, she was like dating this guy for like a couple of rounds of the show, and she's like, oh yeah, we had sex last night. Everyone was just like, oh, that was great. And like, it's fun watching like that, them just kind of own that. It's like, yeah,
Right.
like, we're these hot people living on an island, in the middle of like Fiji or like Turks and Caicos, or I think the most recent season was in Hawaii. And they're just owning into that stuff. Whereas again, a show where Too Hot to Handle is like the opposite of that, where they they villainize the people that break the rules and stuff, and rightfully so, because I've never seen a group of people lose so much money before, like in one stretch, and it kills me every time. Like it's
So have you
watching
seen
hot people be dumb is so great.
It's called Are You the One?
Oh, you know what? I have to Google this real quick. I think I have seen this show before.
Because it's a very similar concept almost. You have to, I think there's like 10 beams of light in most seasons. I think some have 11 or 12. And you have to pair up with someone every week. It's either, I think it rotates, guys choose, girls choose. And you have to find your match. And if you don't get any matches, you like lose like a quarter of the prize, which is already split between 20 some people. And so it's always like so funny to me to watch two people just become so enamored with each other, and then they are in a match and they act like life after the show doesn't exist and they can never be together.
You know what it was? I was going through a stretch where like I wanted to watch one of these shows, but like I was kind of like, I don't know, there was like not really anything like appealing to me that was on.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I ended up watching I remember like, because I think Are You the One is on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one crosses over onto both streaming platforms. And I remember just like the first episode is like them like, because I think the show like goes on until everybody's like found their perfect match or whatever.
So I think
Like,
there's only 10 weeks. You have to find it by that deadline. Or
That's what it is,
you
yeah.
get nothing.
Yeah, that's what it was. There's a deadline you have to meet. And I remember watching, and like these people are like, I think it's like the first episode, they showed it like pretty deep into like the end of the season, where these people are like screaming at each other, typical MTV stuff, like people like screaming at each other, getting really upset, like, girls are crying, guys have to be like pulled away because they're about to like scrap with people. Like it was so over the top, and I'm just like, oh my God, like what? I couldn't really get into it. I don't know what it was. but my God, like it definitely like fits. You know, if you've seen one MTV dating show, you've definitely seen all of them. So
Yeah, well, what's funny to me is going back to early VH1, I think pretty much after the Pumpkin and New York fight, there was like this rule where if you touched another person, you were gone, you were done. But I mean, oh my gosh, they still so they would get in each other's face, just egging each other on, like, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, like you'll go home, hit me. Like it was just hysterical to watch two people shouted to try to get the other to hit them. So then like they would be eliminated.
it is absolutely wild to me. So like I and again like I feel like this. So I do you think that this genre of show is like back to stay for a while? Because like like we mentioned, obviously Love Island, wildly popular. If you haven't watched it, please do. Like
It's worth
it's definitely like it somehow manages to be more tame, but also like more raunchy than like these other shows sometimes. Like it's quite strange how it manages to pull that off. But
So
you know.
I do. I do. And I think what helped a lot, and I don't know why I didn't bring this up sooner, probably because we don't maybe consider it a traditional dating show, 90 Day Fiance.
Oh man. Oh man.
That did a
What a
lot for the
show.
genre. It blew up.
Yeah, like that show is so wildly popular that like I remember I went out to dinner with like my girlfriend's her family and my family went out to get dinner, and her grandfather and my mom bonded over the fact that they both watched 90 Day Fiance. Like this show is so huge in the zeitgeist that that
No.
it has reached all age groups. Like
Mhm.
I've seen a few episodes of it. I definitely see the appeal. I've had someone stare at me in real life because like for too long because they think I look like one of the people
Oh my
on 90 Day
gosh.
Fiance. It's weird. It was definitely an experience, but please so if for the people at home that might not have seen this show before, Shannon,
Okay, so
explain it to them in a vacuum.
90 Day Fiance, you have, so it's American people dating foreigners. There are other spin-offs that various other things happen. Like there's the other way where the American person will go to the foreign country. But let's just talk pure 90 Day Fiance. Usually they meet on something like Facebook, Instagram, and they are real people they've typically met before and they've gotten engaged. And now they want to bring their partner to America. That's all fine and dandy. They have 90 days to get married. And it basically documents the trials and tribulations of, oh shit, you're here. We really have to be together now. And so, there's some drama. There's definitely been our fair share of cheating on there. Um, Probably actually more than there should be for people who are about to get married.
Yeah.
And then there's the typical, and you can only blame them for so much of this because I know, right, if you or me went to a foreign country, we would obviously be uncomfortable, probably, just not going for a visit, but knowing like, oh, I have to live here now. Like, this is where I live. And a lot of the times they don't even speak the language.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like I I've seen like a few episodes of the show. I personally can't like get into it. I'm just in it for the memes. Like the memes are pretty dope. But yeah, like I definitely think it's played like a foundational role in like these shows being so relevant again, because I feel like you might not get a you might not get like a Too Hot to Handle or like a or like a Love Is Blind sort of situation in the States if these shows don't take off. And even then, like you're still seeing I don't know if you've caught wind of that show Sexy Beasts on Netflix. Like
No, please tell me what that is.
okay, so Sexy Beasts is like a it's like a half-hour format dating show, like kind of in the vein of Next and Parental Control, where these people are trying to find love, and they do so by going on blind dates in prosthetic costumes.
Oh no.
So they, so like they look like it's quite horrifying. Just Google it real quick and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, they like go on these, they have like, there's 3 candidates that they go on dates with, and then at the end of the date, they reveal themselves to the person that they've chosen. And it's so funny.
Oh
it's
gosh.
So
oh my
funny.
God. These are like real. No, I recommend everyone go watch this because these are not just costumes. These are fully realized fantasies. Oh my goodness. I was thinking like really poorly done, like party city. No, these are full prosthetic makeup. Oh my gosh.
Literally, I watched a man like try to make out with a woman with beaver teeth on.
Oh, the before and afters are hysterical. Oh my gosh.
It's so good. Now, do these relationships work? Probably not.
Probably not. Like, it's all right. This is hysterical.
Yeah, it's so good. It's a great way to burn like half an hour if you have to like go somewhere or whatever. It's definitely become one of my favorites. And listen, I definitely I just can't get enough of it. I don't know what it is. It's junk food. It's comforting, like you mentioned, like, you know, throughout the past year. You know, it's this leads me to a fun question, because you mentioned how, like, you know, this is definitely a very formative thing for you. Like, let's say in an alternate universe, there's a variant of Shannon. Would that variant of Shannon go on a show like this? What would your gimmick on your dating reality show be?
So I think, and I'm like imagining, because I always actually told myself, believe it or not, at 12 or 13, if I was old enough, I would apply to one of these shows. Now, granted, I never have as an actual adult, but
I was gonna say, you never like applied for, you never, I feel like most girls that I know that are like, were single in like their early 20s applied to be on The Bachelorette, like, or The Bachelor. Like,
I never had any actual interest. I felt like my dating life was exciting enough. Not always in a good way. So I never had any interest in, you know, and plus I just think for me, like, looking at the men that typically go on The Bachelor, I understand that is probably a majority of America's type, you know, in men. I just like those people. They're all so clean cut. They seem so uppity. Like, so I definitely, if it was still the early 2000s trashy era of reality dating shows, 100%, I would have done it, because I, as a teenager, was very into dating people in local bands. You know, now I've dated in the Smash community. Like, I feel like there's I would need some kind of niche on my show.
That I'm so here for. That's so funny. I've definitely never like I don't know. I think if Beauty and the Geek was still like a thing, I definitely would have like applied for that show at some point in my life. I've only ever applied for one reality show in my life. I applied to be on. There's this show on TBS called King of the Nerds.
Yes, no, I've seen every season.
Yeah, famously, Jaywitz, or, you know, Josh Wittenkeller, however you might know him, Pokemon YouTuber, was on the second season of that show. So I applied to be on it, and obviously nothing came of it. I applied to be on, I'm lying. I did just apply to be on a season of The Circle, because that is one of my favorite shows currently on the Netflix streaming platform. It is a lot of fun.
So something I always found fun to imagine, right? Imagine this is either going to be really funny or terrifying. Imagine just getting like 20 people from the Smash community and throwing them in a mansion with no social media. And I think it writes itself, to be honest. Like, it doesn't like it doesn't have to be a dating show. It doesn't have to be like a King of the Nerds style. Just throw them all in a house, because that will entertain. Like,
it writes itself.
I'm not saying it would be good. There would for sure be some cringe. But
it's high dosage of highly concentrated cringe.
Yeah, but it would just be like the different situations that would happen. Could it be funny as a dating show? Sure, but I think just more of like a Love Island, but without the dating. You're just like stuck on an island with other smashers, and there's no electronics, there's no social media. You have to talk and get to know people, and for better or for worse.
I would absolutely love that. Oh my God, that would be so funny.
It's like 20 smashers in a house. Like, what could go wrong? Lots. Lots could go
Yeah,
wrong.
the answer is everything.
Yeah.
I know the answer to this question, but I'm sure the people at home are dying to know. Have you ever applied to be on a reality show before?
No, so I haven't. I've gotten close though. I will tell my story. This is like very nerdy. So I think it was early last year. They did a Sims reality show of all things. And for
I
those
remember hearing about this. Oh my god.
and it was the concept was on every team there was a builder, a designer, a storyteller. I'm definitely more of a designer. I like to make Sims. That's my thing. And I they came out with these challenges and they said, "Oh, submit to the challenges and you could be chosen for the next season." My problem is I play with lots of what we in the community call custom content, which is mods for your game. That's not always the best in official submission situations.
Right.
So that kind of took all the wind out of my sail. I didn't want to do it. All my friends were still telling me to do it. And I was like, it's just not, I can't do it without all the mods. And then I've gotten extremely close to applying for Survivor. I don't think it's so funny. Everybody I've brought the idea up to, they look at me and they're like, no. They're just like, no way. Like, you can't do it. You've never even been camping. And I'm just like, so what I lack in typical traditional Survivor skills, I feel like I could play the mental game in those circumstances.
Sure. I mean, listen, as someone who's also, Survivor makes up one of the four tentpoles of my personality. It's
Right.
literally, I can't shut up about it. But like if you watch like a lot of the seasons, at least a lot of the newer seasons, like a lot of these people have never been camping before. They've never, they're not necessarily the prototypical, people who are very outdoorsy and such. So listen, I think you can bust some heads. I think you can lie and deceive some people.
That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. It's not always the most, because I'm not winning any individual immunity challenges. I'm not standing on a pole for 30 minutes. Like, I'll probably
I think I would be good at I think I'd be good at the challenge where you have to hold like the your hand over your head with a bucket.
Oh gosh,
tied to it.
one.
I think I'd be good at that one.
No, I think I could maybe do, because I would be a puzzle girl for sure. I'm very into puzzles. I don't think anything with balance or really physical ability. I'd probably do pretty poor. But like I said, the puzzles, the mazes, the ones where you have to think, just general strategizing, I could do. Probably my strategy would be to align myself with, and I feel like you see this all the time. It's like the little nerdy girl with like the big guy.
Yeah,
like that is definitely what I would do.
It's a very popular reality TV show like pairing.
I would find my person that I know could do well in the physical, and I'd be like, "Listen, I got the puzzle. Like, we need to have each other's backs here."
Yeah. I said it because I've definitely been teetering on the idea of applying to Survivor before myself. Again, not necessarily someone that would perform well on that show. I'm flat-footed. I can't swim. Like I would die. But I think I'd be great television because like I was like, oh yeah, I love I like puzzles. I like thinking. I think I play a mean social game. But I'd also be on the verge of having to be medically evacuated out off of Fiji because I feel like I would die.
Okay, the thing about me is, unfortunately, I do smoke. My friend likes to joke with me all the time because Jeff loves to offer things for people. I feel like Jeff could be like, here's a Pepsi and a clip of a cigarette, and I would be in the water like so fucking fast.
Yeah, listen, famously, 2 contestants got naked for peanut butter and cookies.
Mm-hmm. Jeff would be like, I got a butt of a cigarette that's like not even got like 2 puffs on it and like an open can of Pepsi, and I would just be in the water. I'd be like, I'm done. Like, send me home. I'm good.
So funny. Like, I got everything I need.
Right. Because here's the thing. I don't love, because he always offers like sweet things. I don't love sweets. So to me, my ideal, okay, this is it. I'm going to say mine and then you say yours. My ideal Survivor auction item I wanna go up there. I wanna lift up the thing. For those of you who don't know, earlier seasons of Survivor, they've since stopped doing it. Used to do this auction. They give people 500 actual dollars cash, and you can bid on things from, cookies and milk, peanut butter, steak dinners. So for me, because I don't like sweets, I want to open that, and I just want to see the biggest steak with like a baked potato.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. See, I've thought about this a lot. And again, I'm so sad I don't do the auction anymore. I get it. Like they've definitely broken
You can
that
game the
challenge.
system. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So like, I've thought about this. I've actually thought about this a lot because something that I've said, in private to other friends is that when I was in the process of, Survivor is a show that, again, if you're not familiar with what Survivor is, like even like people that don't watch reality TV, like know what Survivor is. So if you're
It's
not familiar, it's one of the longest running reality shows on television. You take strangers, you throw them on an island, they compete for $1 million. It's like the elevator
And then
pitch
there's
for it.
alliances. So when you think of the social game, I always tell people think of Mafia, think of Among Us. Like that's
Yes.
what the social game is like.
It's just like Among Us.
Right.
You got to talk. Yeah, you got to talk. Gamerly to them. So, yeah. So basically, in prep for the 40th season of the show, which featured, and every season, usually, at least in the beginning of the show's lifespan, featured a unique location, whether it be in like the Panama, Fiji, China, famously. But there would also be like sub themes to things too. Like there'd be, tribes separated by men versus women. Some of the themes got kind of stupid. Like fans versus favorites is a fun one. I think that one's fun. And what was I good? I
So
totally lost
one of my
train of thought.
favorites.
Oh, so yeah, yeah, go yeah. Tell your favorite.
So I think it's season 20, Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's one of my favorites as well.
And my follow up to that, I'm gonna add mine in, and you could throw this in with yours. Would you be a hero or a villain? Because I would definitely be a villain.
I would. I think I would be a hero because I don't think I'd be. I would be very bad at like playing like the canned villain role. I think I'm just too nice of a person. TBH.
I think for me, it would be just putting myself in the mindset of like, this is a game. This doesn't reflect how I am in the real world, and my friends will know that. But I will play the game.
Yeah, exactly. I think if it came down to it, like I could definitely like, lie for $1 million, but at the same time, it's like, damn, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of bad at lying. But well, yeah. So the thing, anyway, in prep for the 40th season of the show, which featured 20 past winners and coming back, I went back and binge watched all 39 seasons of Survivor.
I've also done that, so relatable.
It was a lot of work. I basically did nothing but like sleep, watch Survivor, and like go to work for like 3 or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's definitely very easy to do in a binge. Like the show's very easy to to watch. But yeah, so I've watched a lot of Survivor. Now, my auction item of choice, I would definitely take the bath. 1000%.
Oh yeah, no, I would. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's either that or like anything with like alcohol, because I think something I would like miss desperately is like I just want a cold beer,
right?
Like that's all I want. Like I could do without like sweets. Again, not a big sweets person. Don't really care about letters from home. My parents don't really write letters anyway.
Yeah, I feel
give me
like
a shower. Give
my
me a
letter
bath.
from home would be like, "I can't believe you made it this far." LOL.
They told me I had to write to you because you made it this far.
Right, like I cannot believe you're still there. Like, and then who would you have? So I have a really interesting answer for this, and everyone kind of makes fun of me for it, and you'll probably see why. Who would you have? So every season of Survivor, they have a loved one's visit. More often than not, the loved one is asked to participate in a challenge.
Oh man.
and when they say loved one, it could be a close friend. So I would probably have my brother, because my brother, a little background, these are the positives, and then I'll get to the one weakness. He's a college athlete. He trains MMA. He's very fit. He's lean. My brother can't swim. But
That is so
when I
funny.
look at the people in my life, like if it had to be a family member, when I look at the people in my life, I'm like, that's got to be him. Like, and I just have to pray it's not in the water. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Oh man,
bar none the strongest in my family.
that's so funny. I've actually thought about that a lot too. So if I had to choose, like it, because here's I'm conflicted because obviously if it's a challenge, I'd want to win, obviously.
Right.
But if I had to choose someone, it would have to be my mom because my mom is like, I've watched Survivor, every season of Survivor with her since I was 11.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So yes, yeah. So it's definitely very much our thing in my house. If I had to, I would probably, if I had to choose like someone to save my life in a challenge, it would probably be, I don't know, I'd probably pick like my brother or like my girlfriend because they're at least like, physically fit and
Right.
younger than my parents are. But again, my, God, I don't know. It'd be hard because like, man, yeah, it'd probably be like my brother or like or my girlfriend if they could like withstand getting on a plane to Fiji to come visit me. So
Yeah, because I feel like, my dad, God love him, like if it was a physical challenge, we would both be dying. We would just be both just dying there. And he would, you know what? He's the type of person though, he would be dying but cracking jokes. He'd be like, "Isn't this funny?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm trying to win." Like, no. Um it's not funny that you
like,
flew 15 hours to Fiji and we're losing, actually.
yeah, like that one Saturday Night Live sketch with Peyton Manning where he's like playing football with kids.
Mm.
It's look it up. It's very funny. Listen, folks, let us know at home. What would your who would your loved one be to come visit you on a reality show? That's such a hard question. Like
Ooh.
it's
Back to dating shows, because the VH1 shows love to do this too. So this will be a question and then a follow-up that I just thought of. Would you
yes,
rather
absolutely.
do the parent visit or the ex visit?
Oh man, this is hard. I think the parent visit would be less. It would actually be less awkward for me than you would think because my parents and I are like pretty cool with each other. I'm not necessarily on the greatest speaking terms with a lot of my exes.
Right?
It
No,
would
I was
definitely make
just
for
thinking of the
better.
same thing.
Yeah, it would definitely make for better television, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like I don't know if I want to be near these people.
If I got to pick, I would say ex, but they never let you pick, so they would pick probably the worst one. Like the one you explicitly tell them like we hate each other's guts, we haven't talked since we broke up. That's the one that's gonna walk out. My parents, I think it would go either way. Either they would be like really cool with it and they would just go with it and have a good time, or they would just be like, imagine your parents meeting your significant other and they just hate the whole idea. Like they would
Yeah,
be like, "What are
it
you
would not be
doing here?
fun.
Why are you on TV? Like, do you even want to date this person?" Um, yeah, with the ex, I feel like there's definitely certain exes where if they walked out, I'd be like, "All right, this is fine. This is fine." But then there's some where I would just, if they walked out, I would just pack my bags at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's too much baggage there. It's not fun for my psyche. Uh, I don't know. See, it's so hard. Like I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to like torment like anyone I love to like that sort of like
Right.
environment because it's like it would be so cool, but it would be like too much.
Well, because then I worry about like, oh my gosh, like obviously, and I think to some extent maybe you forget about this in the house, like they're gonna see it all anyway.
Yeah. That's always what I would be like terrified of if I was on a reality show um like like God forbid I do something like stupid. Like
Mm-hmm.
imagine you imagine you're on a reality show and like there's like I have like if if I was in a different part of my life, I'd be afraid of two things. I'd be afraid of like two things. I would not want to be like, an early boot on a reality
Oh
show
no.
because it would be like I feel like I would be mortified and embarrassed. And I wouldn't want to be in a showmance because then you're like, everybody's talking about you on Twitter. Your mom has to watch you like snuggle up to a stranger on an island for like, I don't know, 6 days or 3 episodes, whichever comes first. It's just, oh man, like,
So
I don't
I
know.
think you said showmance, and I realized a very scary thing about myself. I am definitely one of those people. Like, I can't help myself. Call it fatal attraction. I would be in. I would be so committed to that showmance. Whereas the other person would probably be like, yeah, this will be cool till we all get on the plane. I would be calling them and be like, yeah, so when do you want to like visit each other? Like, do you want to? And they would be just totally ignoring me and exploiting their newfound reality fame and like going on 10 dates like a week. And I would be at home like sad. And you see that unfortunately like all the time. There's
that
always
would be so, oh my
that
gosh.
one couple from the TV show where, and it typically is like this. There's definitely a couple examples from like Big Brother UK. The girl is just so invested,
Yeah.
and the guy is just like, meh, like whatever.
It sucks so bad. Like, I don't know. It would be so much like, again, I've seen it in these other reality shows. Like, for every successful reality TV show marriage there's again that, we mentioned, the power couple gets targeted early. They try to break up the showmance, and then you get caught. It usually ends up with the female contestant getting gaslit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Like, how could you
definitely,
think I was
yeah,
like this? And then the flashbacks are playing of him doing those things.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
It ain't fair.
no.
Stinks.
So one of my most recent, I think, examples of this, and this is probably, and I mentioned this to you, probably the thing in the most recent years that has reminded me of that VH1 reality TV. There was a recent season of The Bachelor where Claire, who was the Bachelorette,
Oh yeah.
fell in love with this guy Dale. Like literally on the first night, he walks out the limo, he gives her a hug, he goes inside, she looks at the camera, she's like, I think I just met my husband. And I did not realize it was this short of a time period because I like rewatched it in prep for this because it's one of those moments in reality TV that just changed me. Like it just like really opened my eyes to things. They knew each other a total of 12 days before getting engaged.
Jesus Christ.
And shock, surprise, they did break up after the show. And now, granted, they are back together, so I hope they are just great. But I'm not gonna lie, when their breakup was announced, I was like, huh, because keep in mind, this wrecked that season.
Yeah.
They had to bring in a new bachelorette. They even brought in some additional guys to kind of like basically start over. And then when that headline broke that they broke up, I was like, I looked back at the season. I just kind of said, for what? Why? Like, why did this all have to get messed up? Like, you should have just gone through the process and actually like gotten to know him.
Yeah, it was so I don't really watch The Bachelor. I feel like it's too much work. Like it's the same reason I don't really watch Big Brother because I feel like if I'm not keeping up with everything, that I'm not really watching the show. And The Bachelor's on, like I said, 3 times a week for like 2 hours each episode. It's insane. But I remember this, catching wildfire. Like it's the first time that they had happened where, and I think what ended up happening is that I think they like started filming the season, or I think the season got pushed back because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like Claire had enough time to like, look up these guys on social media to kind of like gauge her interest.
She was doing some Googling for sure.
Yeah, she was definitely doing some window shopping. And you could see it in, definitely favoring Dale for those like first, however many episodes they were on. And Chris Harrison was just like, hey, like this ain't really fair to like these other dudes. So like, why don't you guys just like call it now? And then they end up calling in another bachelorette to like be on the show. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like, it was wild.
I did feel bad because I think it was Tanisha that they brought in. I did feel bad for her because none of them signed up to attempt to date her. So I totally understood when she was like, you know, how can I trust that any of you guys actually want to try to date me when you, and it was kind of scary. Some of the guys, how quickly they just changed their tone and they were like, it's all about Taisha now.
Yeah.
So it's like, were you forming a genuine connection, or, do you just want to continue being on TV?
Yeah, exactly. These last couple seasons of The Bachelor, again, I don't really watch the show, but definitely been very prevalent in the social media side of things, especially with like that season right after that. That was like, again, pandemic season, lot of a lot of rough stuff, rose to the surface there. Chris Harrison, being removed from his job as the host. And it's
Yes.
just been replaced by like David Spade and like a revolving door of people on Bachelor in Paradise, which again, I've watched a couple episodes of that. Great trash. Big fan.
I've watched a couple of Bachelor in Paradise. I think it more so models, like a Love Island. Because it is, if anyone doesn't know, Bachelor in Paradise, they take a bunch of people from various seasons of the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, and they once again throw them all on an island together. That's the reality TV show formula. Take a bunch of hot people, throw them on an island.
It's great. It's such a good archetype. Like, I don't know what it is about. Like, I don't know. Like, we've talked about it all night. Like, there's just something so like junk food-esque about like watching hot people on an island be hot and stupid.
And I think,
and listen, go ahead.
Sorry, going back to Married at First Sight.
Yeah, you're fine.
It is such like, that's the only one I watch, Married at First Sight, where it's like, these are normal people. They still have jobs, they have apartments, they have lives, and they are suddenly married, and they have to have the conversations like, so who's moving out? And they're talking about their commutes, and it's like, it's not just these beautiful people on islands. This is somebody's like real life that has been disturbed and uprooted.
Yeah, it's wild stuff, man. Like it's truly incredible. And like I said, I think this genre of show is sticking around for a while. Like,
it's bad.
I feel like all of the major streaming services have one now. Again, HBO Max just got in the game with F-Boy Island, which I've been trying to get into. It doesn't really hit the same right now. I think I got to watch a couple more episodes to see how I feel about it. But, I think Nikki Glaser is like funny as a host. I think I find her stand up to be very funny. So I'm sure I can find something out of the show to enjoy. And listen, like if you guys, if you're on the fence about this, all these shows are available on various streaming services. Again, like all of the VH1 shows are on Paramount Plus. Netflix has a crap ton of them too. Like Netflix even has a couple seasons of The Bachelor on there too. So
I will say, I believe a good amount of at least the recent Bachelors and Bachelorettes should be on Hulu.
Yes, that too. I keep forgetting Hulu's an app. I just recently got onto like the Hulu binge because it's it's great. And I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So
real quick, I'll mention, oh my gosh, I can't remember which one it's on. I have to look it up. There is a show that like I have been watching lately, and it's not dating, but it is outlandish because the people who host it like do not know what they're talking about. It is on Hulu. It's called Crime Scene Kitchen. And
you know what? I've seen like commercials for this show.
So essentially, right, when you make something, you make a big dinner, kitchen's a mess. Nobody wants to clean right after they cook. So these chefs, it is a baking show. These pastry chefs go into the kitchen and they have to like investigate like the used pans and the used ingredients. And sometimes my favorite is when they place like decoy objects. So, and then after, once they reveal what the baked good is, they'll go through like, show us how we should have gone there. I love when they put in the decoys because they'll just like flash to like fruit in the fridge and be like, so there were raspberries in the fridge, but they were unopened. They were sealed. Like that was to trick you. That's one of my, right now, like my reality TV obsession is that show because I just think it is hysterical.
That's a good one. I'm trying to think what one of mine is, like outside of just the dating shows. What used to hit like whenever it was, I don't think it's on like anything right now. Cutthroat Kitchen used to be like one of my favorite ones to watch. Mm-hmm. Like that was a fun one. Alton Brown could like explain the ingredients to like bread to me, and I would be like, and he has, and I've been very intrigued by it. but yeah, those are that's a show that I've always really enjoyed. Oh gosh, what's
Quick,
another
how do
one?
you feel about when, because now I've just, you saying kitchen, it brought me back to, how do you feel when in regular reality shows, like say Survivor, or I've seen it even in Hell's Kitchen, somehow, some way a romance starts?
I listen. I mean, in Hell's Kitchen, I guess it makes a little bit more sense, kind of. Because at least those are people that are you have access to showers.
Right.
I don't understand how people can fall in love in a show like. I don't understand how people can fall in love on Survivor because you are on a tropical island. Like
You
if you
stink.
you
Like,
stink. You're unkempt for days at a time. Like I mean, unless you unless you do like the Boston Rob and Amber and just like fall in love like within those like first
they're the
few
exception.
days.
They're adorable.
Yeah, yeah. God bless them. I've watched their wedding special like 3 times. It really really hits home. But like I don't know. Like I couldn't. It's really funny. There is a I actually listened to a podcast about that once. There was a Survivor contestant that hosted like a podcast, and she had another contestant on her show, and they talked about like it's incredibly impossible to think about like anything like related to like romance or sex because you're just so like gross and
Right.
like you're unkempt, you're sweaty, you're tired, you're irritable. Like it's just like you can't even have the energy to think about that stuff. And I couldn't agree with that more. It's just like I can't, all I would think about is like food,
Right.
and like water.
Like I'm
And,
starving. Like
yeah, please get away from me. Stop trying to kiss me. I'm starving.
and that's probably the only show where if there was a showmance, I would be mortified.
Yeah, like I guess is it a perk that like I don't know, you like watching your someone you have a crush on walk around in their underwear all day? Like I guess, but like
I mean, some could
I don't-
argue that's the truest form of love. If they loved you like that, God, they should definitely love you in the real world.
this is true. And spoiler alert, most of the time they don't.
No, most of the time it usually lasts until like a tribe swap or a merge, and then they forget about someone and they move on to someone else, or they just totally forget about them and never speak about them again. My favorite, I love the showmance into Blindside True Combo.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, that
Every time.
that is very much a fun
Every
one.
time that these people, they'll, and it happened. I've seen it happen with girls and guys on Survivor. They really think they're vibing with someone. Next night, like the fifth person voted out as Survivor, and it's one of the ones in the couple, and the other's just sitting there like pretending to be shocked.
Yeah, like I said, usually ends up with a woman being gaslit on national television.
Yeah, no,
stuff.
Unfortunately,
Not fun.
No, I'm definitely. I will say though, if you think back to like Parvati, I've seen it happen to the guys too, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and we stand a queen in this house,
yes,
for sure.
Parvati, Sandra. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I will say, nobody. I want to see the one person I would like to see play one more time. Russell Hands. I want to see him get his W.
Yeah, you know what? I want to see. That would be fun because, like, I listen to a lot of reality television podcasts, so like I get the Russell Hands show in my recommendeds often, and I think about like again some of the themes of the different seasons they've done. And I would love to see them do like because I feel like the window on a lot of these older players are closing,
right?
Obviously, because they're spoiler alert old,
right? They are real regular people too.
Yeah, people get old, and I was like, oh, what if they do like a blood versus water season again, where they bring back like 10 all-stars with like 10 of their kids or whatever, and have them play again. And like Russell's always been one of my favorites. Again, they probably like the last like true villain, like the show's ever had. Like
Tony,
I feel like a lot of people.
Sorry for interrupting. Tony walked the line.
That's fine.
Tony walked the line.
Yeah, that's true.
He had his moments. I would actually. That's two people I would like to see play together. Is Tony and Russell.
Oh man, that would have been sick. Like that would have been so cool.
I want to see also like a fuck. I was almost there season, like second and third places.
Yeah,
like just them, just second and thirds.
Yeah, that would be sick. Because that means I could watch Stephen Fishbach play again, and that's
Oh
like my
God.
spirit animal. Every Survivor application I've like almost filled out. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just like Steven, except I'm not smart and I can't swim. So
I
let's
feel I would definitely be, because my whole thought was Survivor. I've thought about this a lot because I have almost auditioned for Survivor. I've thought about what I would do, down to like I have made up like blindside plans in my head, like idle plans. I have made plans. So if I ever get on Survivor, tune in. You'll see all of them hopefully come to fruition. So I think I could just turn off, because in real life I'm so nice. Like I would do anything for anyone, and I would just go in and say, do the opposite of what I would do in real life. Just focus on. For me, I've always been one of these people. Money talks. $1 million
yeah,
could really like change mine and like the average person's life.
yeah, I agree.
I'll follow the rules of the show, but I am gonna do whatever I have to get the $1 million.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like as much as I say I would be like a good guy on one of these shows, like I would. $1 million is $1 million. I'm willing to cut some throats.
Right, that's life changing.
Burn some. Yeah, exactly. Burn some socks and shit to like
Oh gosh,
really.
I love a
So
good
good.
I love a good rice in the like uncooked rice in the fire moment.
Yeah, it's so good. I love watching. Again, that's why to kind of close out here. Like, again, one of the concepts that keeps me coming back to reality television is people losing their fucking minds. Like, like it's so funny watching someone just have. I mean, it's granted sometimes it's very scary.
It's a
like,
little
for
sad
every
sometimes.
Yeah, for every pumpkin in New York you have that's like iconic, you get a Brandon Hance where it's just like, oof, probably shouldn't have been out there to begin with.
Right.
Second time.
No, you
My
definitely.
man threatened to pee in a bag of beans. Like, that is not okay.
Well, yeah. Oh, super quick. This is a good one to end on. You ever seen Kid Nation?
Yes, I have. Oh, what a show.
Kid Nation.
You know, it's funny. Go ahead,
I'm going to
explain,
give everyone a little synopsis. Kid Nation, for those of you who don't know, ran for one season, and I'm about to tell you why. It was a bunch of I think it was like 8 to 14, right? Kids from all different walks of life. They stuck them in this abandoned town. And if you're curious to how I know these things, several of them have done AMAs, in Twitter threads. Like, they have exposed this show. I mean, there was an incident, like, when they say, oh, of course you say, well, they can't be that unsupervised. There's camera people there. How did one kid drink bleach?
Oh, God.
Like,
I actually didn't even know that.
Oh no, I think it was like whoever did the AMA, I think, revealed that, and it was like this whole scandal. Obviously, I definitely think
crazy.
this genre of reality TV, I feel this way about. Like, I was a Dance Moms person growing up, and actually, it's funny for anyone curious. All the moms do a podcast now, and they're just like normal moms, and it's great. Anyway, I really think the delicate reality TV genre really should be, I'm not even going to say adult, I'm going to say 21 plus.
Yeah, I agree. But there's another show. It's really weird. The show kind of it like launched with HBO Max. It was like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Endurance. It's like Survivor for kids.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, this show was like pretty much just that in like a modern day age. It's like these they take these kids, put them on a team in like teams of 2 in like the Pacific Northwest, and like there's like they each get like. I remember like Endurance had like a big preference on like medallions and like this and that, and like it was kind of like the same concept of show, and it was a 10-episode show. I never finished it because I don't know, I got bored, and then they just took it off the servers completely. So it's like it was called Karma, and I was like, wow, that came and went. That was interesting. Yeah, it was very strange.
So one last recommendation, if you've never seen it, even this one, I guess it's okay when you look at the concept because it's not putting children in danger. It's called Child Genius.
Oh, I've heard of this show.
Oh gosh, like again, it's not putting kids in danger, but some of these parents.
Yeah, they suck.
Oh, like, and I take it personally as a parent myself. I'm just like, you see your child literally crying because they don't want to like. I get it. Your kid's IQ wise, your kid is a genius. Sure, congratulations. However, every child, and I think this goes for dance. Think of Dance Moms too, or like these other talent competition shows for children. Even if it's something your child enjoys, whether it be learning, dancing, whatever. First of all, don't put it on reality TV. First of all.
Yeah, I agree.
Second of all, every kid, and I guess this could go for every reality TV star, has their limit. I mean, Drag Race, you mentioned you watched Drag Race. Look at Adore on All Stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Every reality TV,
it's tough.
like, yes, they sign up for reality TV, or I guess in the kids' case, their parents do. They're still people, and everyone has their breaking point. And while, it's exciting to watch the villains, God, it's so sad to watch someone hit their breaking point while they're on the show.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. Like, again, like as much as we enjoy watching people like lose their minds, like in a fun way on reality TV, it's incredibly sad to watch somebody just like lose it like completely.
It's
like it's not fun. So heed our advice. Watch reality TV. Don't be on it.
No, don't. Honestly, unless listen, if it is your dream to be on reality TV, go for it. Go for it. But just know you could probably get more enjoyment out of just sitting back and watching other people do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much fun. But listen, we've covered a lot of bases here today. And Shannon, I couldn't have asked for a better person to go through this journey of
fun.
A deep dive into. Yeah, we touched on all aspects of reality television today. Again, I love reality TV, and like not enough people in my immediate circle really give a shit. So,
right.
This is a lot of fun. So thank you so much for indulging me today.
Thank you for having me. It's opened a lot of memories.
Yeah, and listen, if we've definitely found I don't know, I might have to go to therapy.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments, shows that I forgot about.
Yeah, listen. Nonetheless, though, Shannon, if there's anything you want to plug, you want to let the people know, where they can find you, if they want to find you, if they want to perceive you on the internet.
Well, I'm sure I'll be tagged in it. Follow me on Twitter, Shannoniganz. I'm sure I'll be tagged in the post.
Oh my God, I've been pronouncing your Twitter handle wrong the entire time. That is so funny.
Oh well, so it's my name, and then it said like Shannoniganz.
Oh my God, that is so good.
Right now, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, no, now it's just like, oh my! I feel like the glass in my brain just shattered.
Yeah, that's a nickname I actually got in like, oh my gosh, like 6th grade on my soccer team, and then as I was like, oh, I need a name for this stuff, I was like, that's fine, that'll work. I didn't really care.
I absolutely.
And
I
occasionally do esports photography when I feel like it. Occasionally. I feel like
you're great at it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like everyone has their hobby in the community. That's mine.
Yeah,
I don't really play, so I gotta fill my time somehow.
Love that for you. And I'll make sure to tag in all the social medias, of course. And check out No Pause Tournaments.
Yes. Duh. Oh my God. Ben is like, how dare she not? No, seriously, check out No Pause Tournaments. They are great. Vacation is our weekly every Saturday in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Come out. It's a great time. It's fun. I might be there.
I agree.
Who knows?
She might.
I might.
She might be there. But nonetheless, thank you again for joining me today, Shannon. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah, and let's again, if you guys want to again follow the show, you can check us out on Koop'd Pod on Twitter. Send us in your questions. Engage with us. Let us know what your dream reality show to be on is, or like I don't know what kind of gimmick you'd have on your dating show. You email us questions at koopdpod@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. I'm going to be all over the place the next few months if you're into the realm of esports and such. So if you're into that sort of thing, check me out there. And we're gonna have a busy week of podcasts this week. You guys might get 3 podcasts this week. So hang in there. Yeah, no, I am a busy man that does not sleep. So nonetheless, folks, thank you so much for joining us today, and see you next time.